Is the Russian economy about to collapse? Have you been watching the Russian ruble fall 50%? A complete collapse. I don't know, folks. We got to talk about this. We'll also talk about inflation, CPI, PPI, PCE, all of that good stuff. But yes, we need to watch the Russian ruble. It's now down 50% since the invasion. Dan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. This is something that I wasn't even aware of until this week, and I saw a couple of things, and I started to research it, and it ties into the inflation conversation because when the dollar or the currency in a country basically gets devalued like that,
Mm-hmm.
then inflation spikes higher. I mean, it reminds me of the Weimar Republic after World War One, where
Yep.
people were taking wheelbarrowfuls of money and heating their house with it because it was worth more to do that than actually spend it. But there are
Right.
other things going on right now, like China, which has been Russia's biggest trading partner. A lot of the online sites are stopping any transactions with Russian citizens.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Second thing is banks are prohibiting Russian citizens from withdrawing money from the
Oh my
banks.
goodness. That's not good.
Yeah, so this is very recent, just starting. If this continues, could be a huge uprising in Russia. You know,
Something to pay attention to. I had
actually,
not
since
heard of
since we're
this.
on since we're on the topic, let me just show you the let me
Yeah, go ahead.
share and I'll show you the chart.
Yeah, we'll get into our US inflation next. Let's take a look at
Right.
this.
Yeah. So this is my website, breakpointtrading.net. If anyone's interested, if you want to see my YouTube channel, it's right here in this button. There's no cost to go to this website. You can just click on the button and go to the YouTube channel. And the free weekly newsletter is in this little box right here. So let's take a look right here. So here's the ruble. Make it a little bigger.
Oh my goodness. Does that say it's less than a penny?
Less than a penny.
One Russian ruble equals a penny, or less than a penny.
Less than a penny. Right. 0.0094. So this right here, this was the low, and this was the day that they invaded
Hmm.
Ukraine, March 10th. Actually, it was about a
Okay.
week after the invasion. And as currency traders often do, whenever they see a severe imbalance in the
Hmm.
market, they step in and start buying.
Yep.
And that's what they did. And it went all the way up here and it hit the peak right there of 18. So that's what you
Roughly
meant
a
by
double.
down
Yeah.
50%.
Yeah. Down
So
50% and on an ugly trend line.
an ugly trend line, and it actually broke through this little low right over here back in last year, October of
Yeah.
last year. It's actually lower than that now. It's
Wow.
lower than any time other than right after the invasion.
Hmm.
So, yeah, less than a penny. So, I mean, you can just scan through some of the here's Russian central bank intervenes as ruble tumbles. That was at 110. It's at 94 now.
Hmm.
Um, Russian ruble collapses as Putin's economy in trouble. Central bank halts currency buying.
Wow.
So not those currency traders can't even buy rubles now.
Interesting.
Um, Down here, ruble tanking, banks stopping withdrawals.
Yeah, that's not good. That's
That's not
that's a way
good.
to lose. That's how you hurt consumer confidence.
Not only consumer confidence, that's how you get a revolt
Oh
from
no,
the
I'm
masses,
clearly that's yes, correct. Yeah.
right? So ruble crash triggers Chinese export halt to Russia.
Oh, I didn't know about that one. That's interesting.
So if you read through this article, basically says that the Russian um, online trading companies
Hmm.
who are selling things that Russia's biggest trading partner now is China, since most of the other rest of the world has shut them off.
Hmm.
But now that even the Chinese are stopping trading with Russia because they're losing money
Right.
when the ruble is dropping this fast, they could do a transaction today, and by the time it clears and everything, they've lost half of their
Yeah, that's
profit.
very much Weimar Republic.
That's
That's
right,
exa- it's just collapsing. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Now,
So
yeah. So
something to watch.
now is this could be this war has to end. It just
Right.
does.
Yeah.
And it has to help the Russian economy as well, I would think, to just stop this nonsense.
Yes,
Okay.
probably. Um, so, this might contribute to it. I mean, I think it might be a big contributor to Russia finally, agreeing to something reasonable.
Right.
I think
Okay.
Ukraine is ready to end it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
think I think what might happen is Ukraine will finally relent and give up um, some of the land that Russia has claimed,
Yep.
just that little strip along their
Mhm.
eastern border.
Sure.
So they'll compromise and give up some land to Russia, but not the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
And Russia, because of all of this and lots of other things, will finally agree, and I think that will end the war.
Well, that would be really good to end that war. Also, last week, I think we got the peace agreement between Hamas and Israel. That's also a good thing.
Hmm.
So maybe we can head into the new year peaceful. Let's hope for that.
Yeah, that would be nice.
There you go.
But this is pretty amazing. I mean, I'm fascinated by the currencies and how they interplay across the world.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
anybody is interested, go research the Weimar Republic inflation after World War One. And what
Mm-hmm.
happened in World War One, they lost the war, obviously. The rest
Mm-hmm.
of the world was so pissed off at them that they saddled them with a onerous Treaty of Versailles
Mm-hmm.
that required them to pay back all the reparations for all the
For the
destruction
war.
across Europe.
Yep.
And in order to pay back all the reparations, what Germany did was devalue their currency. So basically trying to use inflation to pay back.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was that their currency collapsed. So their Deutschmarks weren't worth anything.
Yep.
And German citizens that really they couldn't spend their money.
Yeah.
It wasn't really worth anything. And
Yeah.
it all of that because of the Treaty of Versailles, it basically set up the situation for Hitler to come in and take over.
Yeah.
It was really the catalyst for all of that. So
Yeah. Well, let's switch gears. Let's switch gears to the United States inflation. We got CPI, PPI. We obviously got PCE last week. We do get a CPI and PPI print. I think
yep,
2 weeks from now.
right, the week after next. So
Mm-hmm.
let's look at PCE first. So PCE came in a little bit higher. This is a 12-month window right here.
Mm-hmm.
PCE came in a little bit higher, but it came in as expected.
Right.
So we've been saying, you and I have been saying for a while that November was going to look, hotter for inflation.
Yep.
I think the next report, which we'll look at here, core CPI is down here, and this is headline CPI, the red line right there, just so you can see all three of them side by side. If we look at CPI, so this is the small one that dropped off, which basically caused inflation to essentially be flat. It came in as expected, but a little higher.
Right.
Same with PCE. PCA came in as expected, but a little bit higher.
Yep.
I think the next one, it's a small one, but not as small as the previous one. So I
Correct.
think we probably will have a flat CPI number. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it'll go up or down very much. But even flat, the market might say, oh, well, inflation is still hanging in
Sticky.
there.
Yeah.
Right, very sticky. But of course, as we've always said, look at these months coming up, and then CPI is going to just drop off a cliff, and we'll probably be below 2% somewhere next April, May timeframe.
Yep. Yeah, it's coming. It's
Now,
just math.
if we look at PPI, this one here, you can see the 12-month window for PPI. PPI has been a little bit even more sticky.
Mm-hmm.
So it went sideways, and then last month it went up a little bit,
Yep.
along with CPI. And I don't remember what the forecast was for PPI. PPI is,
It's going to be next week. It's not. It's a week after this.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's not
It's
in
the
here.
11th. It's
Yeah,
the
you're right.
11th.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll have it next week. This is non-farm payrolls. So
Yeah.
PPI, I don't know what the forecast is going to be for that, but it
Well, the
I
other
think it
thing
will
you've
probably
told me
be
to,
flat also.
yeah, the other thing you've taught me to look at is commodities. Can we take a quick look at the
Oh
commodities?
yeah. Yeah, I haven't looked at those lately. So commodities are right here.
You have so many charts, man. It's pretty cool.
I do, but it's like a toolbox. That's what I always say. My site's like a toolbox. You probably use a hammer and a screwdriver a lot, but you don't use
Right.
an angle iron very often.
Yeah.
But
So
if you ever need it,
DBA,
if you
yeah,
ever
it's
need it, it's
there.
there. So
Yeah, we've got two of
DBA is
these readings
food.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's climbing rapidly. CRB, which is all of these things over here.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of food. Actually, CRB is the blue one here. So agriculture, energy, and metals. That one's going up.
Yeah.
So if we move this highlighted area over,
That's not giving me the warm and fuzzies, Dan.
no, I know. I haven't looked at this either. So if we move this over here, this is what it will get reported on right there.
Yeah,
And
that doesn't give me no warm and fuzzies.
number actually is right there. So that's what it will be. Now, gas and oil is down,
It's flat.
which is good. Copper's down, but these two are up. So yeah, I would say, yeah, I mean, CPI could come in a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
And then we might be back to your
No cut in December.
conversation about the Fed no cuts in December.
Yeah.
If CPI
Yeah.
comes in, and I don't know what the projection is going to be yet for CPI,
Right.
but even if it's flat, I mean that might prevent the Fed from cutting again. That'll be
Yeah.
interesting. But we've got enough data. I mean, that's the whole month right there. So
It is. Yeah.
we have enough data to look at. That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Again, I just I think the Fed would be better served pausing in December, waiting for validation that what we think comes in March happens.
Right.
Because the
Yeah, you
last
could be
thing they
right.
could do,
You
yeah,
could be right. Now
the
that
la-
I'm looking at this,
the last thing they want to do is cut and then be forced to raise.
yeah,
That's the last thing they want to do.
that's true.
So
Very
that,
interesting.
that DBA is the highest for years.
Yeah, almost back to the peak inflation back there.
Oh, that doesn't give me any warm and fuzzies. Oi, oi, oi.
Right. So DBA is all of these things. It's all the food
It's
components.
all the food
And
components. Yeah.
look what the biggest one is, cocoa.
Hmm. I would not have guessed that. Okay.
Cocoa is the biggest component of this whole thing.
Hmm.
And then cattle and then coffee.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So everyone that loves chocolate should be feeling the pain.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That candy bar is going to get more expensive.
That's right.
Okay.
CRB to me is more well-rounded one. And
Sure.
actually DBC, which is the main one up here in the chart, really includes everything. It's got
Mhm.
oil, gas, diesel, gold, soybeans, corn, wheat, copper, aluminum. So everything is in this DBC one.
Okay.
And it's actually down. I call it flat. I
Flat.
call it
Yeah.
flat for the month.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to
So
be
I don't know.
interesting.
We'll see.
Again, it's going to be interesting. Again, the inflation's going to impact what the Fed does. It's going to impact the strength of the dollar.
Yeah.
Um, Lots of stuff going on.
Which, by the way, let's take a look at the dollar. Just because we just looked at the ruble,
Hmm.
see how our own dollar is doing. And it's pulling back. You can see gold is beginning to recover as the dollar pulls back.
Hmm.
And the 10 years pull back quite a bit.
Yep.
And I mentioned that I thought that would happen. I think the 10 year is going to just go sideways between 4 and 4.5,
Okay.
somewhere in this range. It's going to go sideways for a while.
Sure.
So bonds have actually started to perk up a bit. They're
Hmm.
starting to move higher. So
Very
the
cool.
dollar pulling back a bit, but the dollar has been pretty strong ever since the bottom in October.
Very cool. All right. Well, it's going to be a fun week. We got a big jobs number this week, and we got some inflation prints the following week. Where can people follow you?
Keep an eye on that ruble. We'll see what happens. Breakpointtrading.net and the YouTube I do every day. I do.
Nice.
It's called the daily scan. So I show people how to find good stocks, where to buy stocks, how to set stops, that kind of thing.
Great work,
And I
man.
talk about the market. So I do an overview of the whole market in the very beginning each day, see what it's been doing.
Amazing job, folks. Go check him out. His YouTube channel's there.
And don't forget my Black Friday special.
There
Good
you go.
until Tuesday.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Talk to you later. Have a good week.
You too.